Welcome back to the channel, Starseekers. My name's Luke, and although I'm somewhat late to the party, I thought it about time I took a look at the recently released Popeye game to see whether or not it's as bad as people are saying it is. I want to say a quick thanks to Sabeg for actually going ahead and providing a key for the game after I sent them this email, though I'm not quite sure that this will qualify as the honest review that they were looking for. Now, I've heard the word asset flip bandied about a bit. I've seen good old Jim Sterling has given it a royal roasting, and this guy seems to think that it's the worst game on the Switch, though I have to assume that he's not yet played any of Pixar's back catalogue. But really, how bad is it? Well, Sabeg, the game's publisher, is responsible for bringing us such gems as the utterly disappointing darts cum quiz game Bullseye, which is also based off a classic TV show, and the notoriously fantastic $10 calculator game, which if you watch my video on it you'll find is much more than just a calculator. And while Sabeg do have a history of bringing some pretty questionable titles to the Switch, they haven't quite yet stooped to Pixar's level of bull flippery in my opinion. Now, before we get started, I'll be honest with you, Popeye was never one of my favourite cartoons growing up for the same reason that Scooby-Doo wasn't, and this is primarily due to one key element that both cartoons have in common. They both have annoying as fuck characters that you just want to throw into a tree shredder and turn into red mist. Scooby-Doo had that annoying little prick Scrappy-Doo who I just wanted to drop kick across the room, and Popeye had the lady of the show's love triangle, Olive Oil, with her gangly spaghetti frame and whiny fucking voice.
Oh, Popeye!
I mean, I don't even know what the two of them see in her. Well, I suppose Popeye didn't have much going for him, what with his gammy eye and nicotine-stained fingers, but Bluto, come on man, you're a decent-looking lad with a solid beard, and the ladies apparently love a bad boy. You can do better, mate. Come on. Anyway, let's get back to the game at hand. Now, I'm sure that many of you have already seen the footage of the game, but I'll break down the core gameplay mechanics for you. You of course play as Popeye, and in each of the game's 3 levels you have to run around collecting love hearts or letters thrown from up on high by Olive Oil, and in order to complete levels you simply need to collect a certain number of love hearts or spell out random phrases on a board with the letters. While doing so you have to avoid Bluto, or Brutus as he's known in this game, who, just to put Jim Sterling's speculations to bed, was apparently renamed after the 1957 cartoon series ended because the new producers believed that Paramount Pictures still own the rights to the name Bluto, or so I'm told by Wikipedia. Anyway, Bluto, or Brutus, punches you into the sea if he catches you, resulting in a short swim back to the shore and the loss of a life, but if Popeye happens upon a spot of the good old green stuff, and by that I mean spinach, then just like in the cartoons you get to uppercut Bluto into oblivion and go about your merry way for a while. Now, the maps themselves cycle through a few times, changing the time of day and the weather, and in an attempt to increase the challenge of the game, this Vulture gets involved in the mix, who from what I've read was a minion of the Sea Hag in the TV series. But aside from this, that's about the entirety of the gameplay in this one. Overall, I would have to say that I found gameplay to be lackluster at most. There's very little challenge to it due to Bluto just standing around like a knobhead for half the time and you being able to walk faster than he can run. The game's music consists of that classic pirate music that you usually hear playing on kids' rides, which loops repeatedly, driving you fucking insane about a minute after starting the game. Olive Oil's voice is like nails down a chalkboard, and the game's 3rd level runs like shite on the Switch with constant frame rate issues. Now, while Jim Sterling ripped Popeye to shreds and that other dude called it the worst game on the Switch, like I've said, I know better. I've tasted the delights of Pixar's firsthand with America Wild Hunting, and I've seen the quality of arse chocolate that the likes of Benoit Verassi and Peter Skolsky churn out after an afternoon spent perusing the Unity asset stores searching for the next big slab of dick to plonk down into Nintendo's money-grabbing fist for a good old tug. And so no, Popeye is not the worst game on the Switch. It may be a bag of dicks and boring as hell, I'll give you that, and it even contains a bunch of Unity assets as pointed out in this article by RealOtakuGamer.com, where they rightly identify the levels as being built using the Polygon Pirates low poly art pack from the Unity asset store. But despite this, it doesn't quite reach the bottom of the barrel in my opinion. Now, should you go out and spend $12.99 on it if for no other reason than it being a Popeye game? Fuck no, the game is way overpriced, and you may as well just throw a tenner into a blender with a bunch of dog shit and then chug that down, because you'd probably get just as much enjoyment out of it. It does, however, offer some simple gameplay that maybe your 6-year-old child would enjoy, if you're one of those responsible types who doesn't let the kids play Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, or are just cruising for a spot of child cruelty. Now, all this talk of asset flipping actually got me thinking. If I were to make the ultimate Popeye game to be released on the Switch comprised entirely of assets, which ones would I use, and would it turn out better than this sorry attempt at a game? So I got to browsing, and I think I've come up with something that you'll like. Now, to start with, we need to set the scene, and while Sabek opted for a typical piratey theme to their levels, I want to turn up the heat a little, and so our epic battle between Popeye and Brutus, or Bluto, is going to take place in the heart of an active volcano. Despite me wanting to remain true to the original source material, I do think it about time we modernised Popeye and made him someone that women might actually be attracted to, and so I've gone for this hench as fuck version of Popeye that I found on Sketchfab by a dude called Matthew Keane. Turning to Bluto, he's pretty much the optimum specimen of male masculinity, and so there wasn't really much that needed changing here, and I went with this awesome looking character model by Hossein Deeper that I found on ArtStation. Now, when it comes to Olive Oil, to be honest, she's way beyond saving, and so we're going to be doing away with her right away, and since this is a Nintendo title, I thought it only fair that we replace her with another love triangle lady, that being the one and only Princess Peach, who I would snag from a site called The Models Resource. And with that, we've got just about every asset we need to create our very own Popeye game. Now, as I said before, the heart collecting escapades in Sabek's game isn't all that fun, and so my game is going to be a fighting game. A Mortal Kombat style fighting game with all the bone crushing, bollock busting action you can shake a fist at, and the first person to tear the head off their opponent is the one who gets the girl. We could even introduce a few other characters into the mix like Mario and Bowser, though I do have my doubts that Nintendo would even let us use their iconic mascots in this kind of game, let alone tear the head off their favourite mustachioed plumber. Now, if there's anyone wanting to help create a game like this, then feel free to get in touch and we can bounce a few ideas about. Given Nintendo's track record, we shouldn't really have many issues actually getting it onto the Nintendo Switch, and we may even be able to ask Sabek to publish it for us. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video, cause I had fun writing the script for this one, and thanks once again to Sabek for providing the key for the game. As always, if you did have fun watching, hit that like button, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and this video in the description box below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all my latest content. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves, and game on.